Cool. So, we'll get started. I think Rick is all
Just
set
put
up.
these on?
Yeah, just put that on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think you can hear me right.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Cool. So, we'll sync the audio. All right, I'll set that there. Cool. We're rocking and rolling, Jillian.
Okay.
Jillian Tedesco. Right? I said
Yeah.
that correctly. Right?
Yeah.
I have this huge fear of
Oh,
saying
sure.
people's names wrong.
Yeah.
Because of that, for the longest time, I would just avoid people's names. I'm just like, I'll just call them.
And
dude.
just shorten their name.
A whole lot of mans, a whole lot of dudes in my life. Oh my goodness! But so we actually kind of talked about it a little bit off camera, but I wanted to start with kind of maybe not even like business related, but how often do you play golf? I know like that's like one of your passions as far as when I'm following on the gram, like you're out there and you're walking, which is the most impressive thing is what I've noticed.
It's fun.
Yeah, when did you start golfing and like how often do you
So
do
the
that?
funny thing, I started golfing because my husband, he got into it, and I realized how much he liked it, and he's actually really good. He does a
Yeah.
lot for work, taking clients out and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm athletic, and I was like, if I play golf, this would be something great I could do to spend quality time with him as we get older.
Oh, okay.
So it was merely like my first intention to start playing was this could be a good way to spend quality time instead of being that wife like, oh, you're going to the golf course. Like I would just go with him.
Yeah.
So I picked up a club. I think I was 26, and you hit a. Do you play golf?
So I have played golf. I
Okay.
won't say I play golf because like you have to like do that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I did for a while. I
So
really enjoy it.
it's funny about my golf game because before I started Fit Flavors,
Yeah.
I was a personal trainer, and there was a point for probably like 2 years where I did both. I was doing this business on the side and I was still training, and
Yeah.
then I started golf right about then, and then this business started to pick up to where I resigned from personal training,
Okay.
and it was kind of like I just had one job then, so I had all this free time.
Lots
so
of free time, I imagine.
I was at the golf course every day, like just practicing, and then I'd walk 9 by myself, and then I'd chip and putt.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'd be up there for 6 hours, like, because
Yeah.
I would only work a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a little bit on Monday with this cooking thing.
Okay.
And so I could be at the course Tuesday, Wednesday, and a little bit on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I mean, in my eyes, 3 days a week is a lot.
It's so addictive though.
It-
I mean, just whether you're going to the driving range or you're playing 9.
Yeah, because you'll play horrible, and then you'll hit a couple good shots, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do it, and then you come back and you're
Yeah. I never realized how much business is really done on the golf course.
Yes. I mean, I don't do business on the golf course, but
Yeah.
I've watched my husband
Yeah.
do it.
Well, you mentioned your husband will be out there,
Yeah.
and I've met just so many cool people out there playing.
And it's such a relaxed state. I mean, like we were talking about how I met my husband at the gym. Like
Yeah.
you're in like your zone outside of work, so it's not so salesy when you're
Right,
out there. You're
right.
just maybe having a beer on the golf course
Right.
and playing and just having a conversation, and then boom, something starts.
Right. Right. What kind of clubs do you use?
TaylorMade.
TaylorMade.
Mm-hmm.
Such good clubs. Such good clubs.
I was thinking about getting new ones just because they're old, but I'm like, I don't think I play that much now. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, just several times a year. I mean, I'm not like out there every week. I wish I was.
Well, it's snowing now. I mean, you couldn't even be out.
Yeah, but still in the summer. No, I mean, it's been a lot of work and babies the last couple of years.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I've noticed that a lot of successful business people like they have those self-care things,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's golf or some sort of passion that they set that time aside for, and
Mm-hmm.
it when you do take that time, it just helps with everything else.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I love being selfish with my time.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to the gym or just sometimes I like to just go shopping by myself and just be alone and just
Yeah,
listen to music or a podcast in my car. If I've got like a half a day or something, and just be alone and go talk to people at the mall or something. Like, I don't know why I love that.
yeah.
Maybe because I'm shopping too. but-
I'm glad you said that you like to be selfish with your time.
yeah.
I think that word is viewed in a negative light a lot of times, but if you're not selfish with if you're not taking care of yourself first,
Yeah.
how are you supposed to take care of anybody else?
And there's ebbs and flows with it. There's times where I'm like, oh, I'm on it. I'm hitting all my workouts. I've been
Yeah.
able to blow dry my hair 3 times this week. I put together. And then there's other weeks where I'm like, I'm a mess. And I'm like, I made it to the gym one time,
Yeah.
And so it just, but I always strive to keep
Yeah.
myself put together and work out. But,
Yeah. It's those constant ups and downs.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's never perfect.
No, it never is. Everybody, that's probably the downside of like social media and kind of just the climate that we're in as far as society. Everybody kind of sees the highlight reel.
Yeah. And that's another thing I've noticed with like social media. I mean, I post, but I probably don't post as much as I should, but I always want people to see me no matter how I look. Sometimes I look when I feel put together, and other times like I'm in my kitchen and I look like I'm in my kitchen. And I want to come off as real because I don't have time to just fix myself up every time for the camera. Like that's just not realistic.
No, not at all.
And for me, like the busy life that I have with having a business and kids, it just, I don't have time to do it all the time.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I know imagination plays a big role. People will start to, and I've been guilty of this, like I'll see a picture, I'll see a clip, and then you just start filling in all these details. Like, oh man, they must be doing this, they must be doing all that. And it's like, I like those memes to where it'll be like a close-up shot, and then it'll be like a 10 feet view type shot, and it's like just somebody sitting next to like a washing machine or something, but they made it look like they're on the airplane.
I haven't seen that one. You'll have to send me that
I'll have
one.
to send that to you. I just saw that one yesterday. I was like, it's so true. Like perception is reality, but it's not always what it seems.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna segue. It's not a clean segue. I was trying to think of a smooth segue here. But now you started your business 5 years ago?
No, 10 years ago.
10 years ago, right?
I'm like year 11 almost.
Yeah, I know. So you started originally. You were doing the personal training, and then you transitioned into being the personal chef, right?
Yeah.
Was that the start of Fit Flavors? Was that the brand at the time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I actually I called it Flavors by Jillian.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just always about the food and the flavors. And then when obviously I opened a brick and mortar, I didn't want to have my name on the business, be one of those people. I was like, I'm just going to call it Fit Flavors so it's associated with healthy.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to have my name on the business. That's why I took it off.
That's probably a good move, right? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, this is so funny because like I still cook for some of my other people and they're like, oh, my Jillian meals. I'm like, oh my God, they still call it that.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but whatever.
those are like the old school
Yep,
patrons, right?
the OGs, I call them.
It's like, those are the day ones.
Oh, yeah.
Man, so what made you want to take that transition into like the kitchen as opposed to, I mean, I feel like I know so much about you because I always do my research. I mean, like I've listened to I think almost every podcast you've done.
Oh, wow.
But but it's so just for the listeners recap, you started personal training very young, 18, right?
Yeah.
Moved to Miami, came here, St. Louis at 19 or 20.
Yeah, I just turned 20. Yep.
Yeah. So let's just start there. You're 20. You just get to a new city. You're in St. Louis. You don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Like, walk me through that time in your life. Like, what was going on for you?
Well, I had actually moved up here with a guy.
Okay.
And not the best guy. Let's just put it that way. But we started working at a gym. It was like a family-owned gym in the Valley, and I had developed this weight loss system called the Body Management Systems, and it was my weight loss program. I created it.
Okay.
So I kind of walked my clients through personal training, helping them like set their cardio, that steady state cardio that they would do on their own, and helping them understand why they needed to do that. And then nutrition coaching, just helping them eat better,
Yeah.
I wasn't specifically writing diets, but more so sharing recipes and just like how to grocery shop and like what are complex carbs versus not, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving that gym and going to a personal training studio, and I took that program with me, and it really blew up there, and I managed that program for this facility, and there was about 15 personal trainers, and I was managing selling all these, and then I would be selling it for other trainers, and at the time I was 20 years old, and I would have them do the training, but I did all the nutrition coaching. So I was literally managing all the clients that were coming in through this place. And then I broke up with my boyfriend at that time, and one of the guys there was like, hey, I'm getting out of this place. Do you want to like come with me and we'll open up our own gym? And I'm young and dumb, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's open a business. Let's basically get married and just, I don't know anything about you. And
Head first.
all the money I had saved up, I dove head in, and we did this beautiful build out, and he was kind of like the main owner. I think I owned 33% of the business.
Okay.
So he kind of did more of the admin things, and he left me to do more of the sales and manage the personal training and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I was still working 60 hours a week, and wasn't paying ourselves because we were trying to make rent and do all that stuff. And he just kept spending money on the facility, and it looked amazing, but like we just didn't have the sales to support it. So we struggled for a couple of years. And then on my 25th birthday, I had a falling out with him. And I basically walked out of my business and quit. And I remember going home, and I was with my husband was my boyfriend at the time. I had met him through this, and he was like, "What do you mean you quit?" I'm like, "I just can't go back." And that was a very pivotal moment in my life. Yeah. I just kind of went downhill after that. Like I felt like like you kind of have like probably a sense of ego about you. You're 24, you have your own business. You think you're like you've made it, you're doing it, and you have this
your whole identity.
You're exactly. And I lost that, and it was just kind of a shock to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who am I? And I think internalizing that fear, I mean, now I look back and that's exactly what it was. But then I didn't know it. It just felt empty and insecure. And I started having anxiety, like to the point where I couldn't sleep at night and I would have panic attacks.
Yeah.
I called 911 one time and had the paramedics take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, I remember laying in the hospital bed, and the nurse said to me, "Jillian, your vitals checked out perfectly. Hon, you're great. You didn't have a heart attack."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, no, I did. And she's like, "Has anything traumatic happened to you like in the last couple of weeks?" And I was like, "Yeah, I lost my business. How did you know?" And she's like, "You just had a panic attack."
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, me having a panic attack, like, what? Like,
it didn't make sense.
No. Yeah. So grappling with that, and then just kind of soul searching after that. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in prayer. I got really close to God, and just putting my trust in him that he would put me on the right path. And God did present himself to me very vividly, like 3 times in 1 week, basically like, "Jillian, I'm here. I hear you."
Okay.
And
how so?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I love that you ask. I don't get to tell this story enough.
Tell me, please.
So I was spending hours every day praying in the morning and reading my Bible, just like searching and journaling out all my feelings and hate. And as I was studying the Bible, the one thing that I was learning was Jesus forgives.
Yeah.
And if you want to be like him, you have to learn to love and forgive as well. Like, we need to love our enemies. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to forgive Scott, who was my ex-business partner, if I'm ever going to be able to love and move on.
Yeah.
So I prayed, God, help me forgive him. I hate this guy right now.
It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah. But like in my heart, I wanted it. I just didn't know how I would do it. Well, the next day I saw him drive past me on the road, and it was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't seen him since it happened. It was probably 3 months after the fact. And then that evening he texts me out of the blue.
Oh, wow.
And it just opened the dialogue, and we both apologized for, what we had said to one another. And at that time I had already said, and I think I'm trying to remember the timeline exactly. I think I had started cooking then, but I said I forgave him, and literally the door closed, and that was step 1.
Close of that chapter.
Yeah. And it was like, okay. And I remember spending a lot of time in my Bible reading and just questioning the whole birth of Jesus. Like, and the 3 wise men, like finding him in the manger in the middle of nowhere. And just, I spent hours Googling the 3 wise men. Like, I was just like so interested about that. And I was at the farmer's market like that weekend shopping, and ended up buying some of that like homemade soap. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And there was probably 100 different flavors. And there was this little girl, you could tell she was there with like the parents that were a farmer. And I said to her, I'm like, I don't know which soap to pick. Like, which one's your favorite one? And like, it was almost like, I remember we were under this like, this walkway, and the sun was like shining right down on us. And she picked up this soap and she like looked at me and she like held it out and she was like, "This is my favorite soap." And it said gold or frankincense and myrrh.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is random. And I just felt the sun shining down on me. I felt like God was looking at me saying, "Jillian, I know you're seeking me. I hear you."
Yeah.
And that's what that said to me. And I was like, and then I had just had that incident with Scott happen.
Right.
Okay, maybe those both could be random.
Maybe,
okay.
right.
So, and I'm like, man, that's just so much. I started bawling, like, bought the soap.
Go back to the car. Have a good cry.
So after I left that studio, I took my clients to like another gym right around the corner, and I'd been working there part-time. And the whole time I was working there was a guy who was working the front desk with me, and I was filling in, like covering the Smoothie Bar, and he was always trying to get me to go to church. So we would kind of talk about God, and he was kind of counseling me through a lot of this stuff that I was seeking.
Yeah.
And one day we were there. Now this all happened within 7 days.
This is all within 1 week.
Yeah, this is all within 1 week. And he was actually the one that told me to go read the gospel, that I should seek out and God would give me the answers.
Okay.
So I was telling him about that incident at the farmer's market or whatever. And so we're behind the bar, and this lady comes up, never seen her before, no idea who she is. And like she stops, like she's going to order a smoothie. And she goes, "Are you Jillian?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Hi, can I help you? What do you need? Do you want a smoothie?" And she just got like ghost white. And she looked at me and she was like, "I want to let you know you've been on my heart lately." I'm like, "Who are you?" You know?
Yeah.
And she reached over the counter and she touched my hand and she goes, "God told me to tell you that everything is going to be okay."
Whoa.
And then she left, and I never saw that lady again.
Wow.
So, that was really weird.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I was like, does God work like through people like that?
I mean, I don't see why not.
So another very emotional moment for me. I'd lost my business, felt like my life was over. I was in this hole, seeked God. I really seeked him and said, "God, help me. I show me the way, like lead me out of this," showed me how to forgive, showed me he hears me when I seek him, and then basically smacked me in the face with that woman. Like,
right.
I never will doubt him again. And like, he's never presented himself quite like that, but I don't think I ever will need him to.
Yeah. And
it really changed my direction, my thought process. I said, you got to get out of your own head. Like, what makes you happy? And at the time, I loved food and I loved cooking. I always loved counseling people with their nutrition. And I had a lot of happiness around food. So, literally, I said, you know what? I'm just going to start cooking for my clients on the weekend and help them lose the weight because I got all this extra time. I'm not running my business anymore. And it's really how it started. And I, just started cooking because that's what I wanted to do, and it brought me joy. And I said, just have faith.
Yeah.
I will walk down this path that he said, go ahead and follow what makes you happy. And literally that's how it started.
Oh, wow. That is one hell of a week.
Yeah. So luckily I journaled a lot of this stuff. So I've been able to go back and read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a whole different perspective now, right? You're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like that was a very you're at a crossroads essentially,
exactly.
right? I mean, a lot of things are changing.
Uh-huh.
You're trying to figure out what's the next step. I mean, you're diving deep into your faith, kind of really questioning some things, and then boom, all of this happens in 1 week. It's this is it.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's cool. That's so cool. I think that you said so you were really diving into your faith and doing a whole bunch of research. Were you just kind of lost at that time and just kind of questioning some things?
So I grew up in church. My mom always took me. But I always say you have to opt into everything you do.
Right, and that's why I asked.
And I don't want to say I never needed God. I always loved God, but I needed him then. I needed to know that I wasn't alone and that he was there for me, and he was.
Yeah.
And they always say God is enough, and just believing that, putting my faith in him and letting go of my fear.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of fear and anxiety in my body with whatever I was dealing with,
Right.
But just kind of saying, I got you, and just kind of just led me in another direction.
Yeah, 100%. I think so many people, especially if you come from like the Midwest or the United States, we're raised a certain way and it's typically Christian, but then you don't really take the time to like really actually like learn why you feel a certain way or think a certain thing. And I think it's important to have that moment of discovery and like figure it out for yourself.
And I've always been super intrigued about other religions and just understanding everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
I know some people say the universe and God and then Jesus, and those are all three different things. But knowing what those mean and what they mean to me, and
sometimes I think it's just semantics. Like is God, whether it's the universe or it's God, and
I wish I had the answer.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the answer is either, but I think ultimately what it goes down to is whether you're operating from like a place of love or a place of like fear, right?
True.
I mean, because like you mentioned, you were like it was fear and anxiety, and like that didn't produce anything good in life, right? But then when you start coming from that place of love, then you can start having like acceptance, and there's positivity there, and there's just a lot of benefits there. So yeah, I thought that was just such a cool part of your story that you really like took that time to go down that path.
And I will say, like, I did the work. Like, I was reading a lot and journaling a lot, hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I engulfed myself in it because I was so obsessed with figuring that out and changing where I was. I was not okay with where I was, and I was like, I gotta work on me.
Right.
So I need to spend time on this. Like, not that I didn't go to, I tried to go to a therapist. I think I met with her twice and it just didn't connect for me.
Yeah.
I found more connection in writing out my anger and how I was feeling, and it kind of helped me get through a lot of it. It was just like letting it out and helped me realize, okay, that's how I feel.
Right. Yeah. And you found what works for you. Everybody's we're all such individuals, and you can even extrapolate this to like whether it's nutrition or fitness or whatever the case. Like there's no one size fits method on how you're going to get through anything.
Yeah, and I think that's like that with personal development too, because for some people it's visualization, for some people it's reading, other people it's whatever, going to conferences or whatnot, but like whatever works for you, you do have to figure that out, because I'm not someone that was talking about this with anyone. Like I kind of worked through a lot of this on my own.
Yeah, and just got through it.
Yeah.
So you make that choice, to start into the business now, as far as nutrition is concerned, because that is a big pain point for a lot of people, I'm sure, right? Was that kind of or let me ask you this: what was your biggest beef with training people? Like, what was the thing that was like, oh man, like, is it you're writing out programs and then like they don't
that I didn't like about training?
Yeah. What was that thing that was like, you know what, man, like I think the best way for me to help people is this nutrition piece.
I didn't like quit training because I didn't like it.
Okay.
No, I quit training because the business was taking off. I couldn't physically do both.
That was just better. Okay.
Yeah. And I felt way more fulfilled doing the cooking, like I was helping more people.
Right.
But the only thing I could say that sometimes training, it wears on you is, I mean, you spend 10 hours a day with 10 different people.
Right.
That'll suck your energy.
It's just that constant, trading time for money.
Yeah. And you're talking to them. You have to be inspiring and motivating. Don't bring your shit to the table because they got their own shit. You need to be something positive for them. So like I was just always giving my all every hour, all the time. And it's like, it can be draining.
It really can.
Yeah.
Do you take that same mentality and just now kind of put that into your team as you're building? Because you have 50 employees now, right?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you can be mentoring someone, or you could be, trying to collaborate with them. And when you're going from, designing a recipe to talking about marketing to, creating a spreadsheet to like customer service in the storefront. I mean, it's just all different avenues, and you got to give the same energy to every manager and lead, because you want them to feel like you got their back. I want them to feel like I have their back, know? So I want to serve them in every way I can. So if I am...
Right, yeah.
That is not going to produce anything good for them.
Right, yeah. If you don't have the energy, right, which takes us back, I guess, to the beginning of the conversation, like having that, that time for you, taking care of yourself, whatever those are. So you also do like yoga and like what else is like your go-to to help recharge you?
Oh God, I love being alone.
Yeah, just that
girly
solidarity.
stuff. Yeah. Like when I feel like I can take care of myself as a woman, whether that's going to get my hair done, going to get my nails done. Like I say, blow drying my hair like it's a big deal, but finding time to shower and blow dry your hair and put your makeup on and getting all ready, like I love that process. Yeah. Because then I feel like I get to present myself to my husband with my best self, and like it's I love to do that, and
Yeah.
it's just me time. Like if I go to the gym and I have an hour to like get ready,
Yeah.
I love that time because I'm by myself.
My girlfriend's like that. Like almost every Saturday without fail, it's like she'll take like 4 to 6 hours. So like she'll have her same. She'll go get her hair
Routine.
done, or she'll go get her nails done, or she'll go to the gym.
It really
or,
does make you feel amazing.
Yeah, she has the same routine, but it's all about that just being alone and like getting those things done, and then she's like good to go.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
Like I like quiet. Like I can definitely talk, but you know, I have some girlfriends that just don't shut up, and I can only take them in pieces. Just there's so much noise because like I feel like my life is so much noise with work and my kids.
being pulled from everywhere.
It's just like I just want quiet.
Yeah.
My mom's quiet. She could talk, but she's quiet, and I love that. I could be around her forever. It's just quiet. I could just sit.
There's a lot to be like had just sitting in the silence. I'm always surprised how many people don't like to do that. Have you ever gone floating?
I'm not much of a floater. I'm not like a lake person.
No, like float tank.
Oh, float tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just say I didn't have the best experience when I did that because I was in a bad spot in life. I feel like everything in the float was just not good thinking.
Just all bad.
I should go back and give it another chance because I literally got out of the float tank early. Like I could not get my mind off what I was stressing about.
Oh yeah, that matters. Like whether or not you're in the right headspace.
Oh man, I was not in the right headspace.
Yeah, because you're just stuck there with your thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah. Then like if you're ruminating on something and you can't take action, that's probably pretty hard.
See, I think that's why I like yoga because it's like moving meditation.
Yeah.
For me, I am a little bit more high energy and I like to be moving. I'm kind of quick with everything I do. So
Yeah.
to sit still is one, I mean, to be quiet is one thing, but to sit still and be quiet, that's really hard. So
That's
at least with yoga, I'm like moving.
Right. Yeah. It's like a moving meditation.
Mhm.
I use jujitsu for that a lot of times.
Sure.
Like I've been doing it for so long, and if I go with somebody who's just not as good as me, it's really not that much of a
Because you just want to
challenge.
keep going and
Yeah.
sparring and
Yeah,
not
so
stopping,
it's like
right?
let's just move. Let's just move. Like I'm
Mhm.
not worried about you like hurting me or anything like that.
Right.
It's just let's just turn off the mind and
There's
just go.
there's like some art to that and beauty to that.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I find movement was like the first language that I've actually learned. Because like I'm so health conscious, and well, not movement, but movement is a language in itself, rather. And I found for me the first movement language I learned was like wrestling, grappling. So I just like translated that right into jujitsu, and it's just like a huge part of my life. I think that's actually why I fought for so long, is because like that's how I truly express myself is through like physicality and like movement and different things. And like that was my art. That was my way to like be myself and communicate
That's
myself.
me,
at my
for me, it's
purest.
cooking.
For cooking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Like
Yeah.
all day. Give me a frying pan. I'm happy.
I absolutely love cooking. You can really like fall into a flow state when you're cooking. Like, do you do that like where sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't really feel like cooking, and then I'll start cooking, and then an hour later it's like, oh shit, where'd the time go? And like I feel so relaxed. You ever feel like that?
I never not want to cook.
Really?
I always want to cook.
You don't get burned out, like considering like this is your business, like
I don't cook for Fifth Flavors.
right? But you started cooking right for like a long, like so
Yeah.
you're doing the personal chef,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then when you're in your house, it was you cooking, right?
Yeah.
And then like obviously you removed yourself from that part of the business,
Mhm.
so I guess it just doesn't. I guess. Yeah, I guess you're
Yeah.
right. It doesn't matter, right? Because you're not cooking every day for work.
Yeah, no.
So,
So
now you just do it for
maybe
enjoyment at home.
Maybe it would be different if I was cooking every day.
Yeah, that makes
no.
sense.
I do a lot of the recipe design, but
Yeah.
like at home, like I will cook like all the time.
What's your go-to? Do you have any go-tos, or do you try to like mix it up?
For
every time?
home,
Yeah, if like some
Yeah.
go-to
Yeah.
meals that you like to make.
so I'm pretty simple. Like I eat pretty clean. So
Yeah,
I'm like very staples. Like I do veggies
yeah,
and a protein, whether that's eggs or beef or chicken or something like that,
Right.
and typically a rice or a potato. Like
yeah.
that stuff is just always at my house. Like I'm typically like a stir fry person. So
Okay.
my go-to meal is typically like 5 or 6 different veggies.
Yeah.
Like some type of aromatics, whether it's garlic or ginger,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a scrambled egg, or like I said, some chicken or something, and
Yeah.
then fresh herbs.
Right.
That is it. And then if I have rice or
Super
potato,
simple.
great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I always try to have all the veggies ready to go so I can just fire them
Yeah.
up.
Just real whole food.
Yep.
I think people make nutrition too complicated. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm training people. You try to give them ideas what to eat, or I found that a lot of people what they think is food isn't like really food.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
the scary part.
right?
Yep.
They're always going towards what's in a box or a bag, or there's so many processed foods out there.
Mhm.
I think I think the fact that we even put the word food on the end of that is kind of like injustice to like what real food is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be complicated. Like you said, just vegetables, some protein, and like you said, some aromatics, whether that's spices or, add a carb, real whole carbs, rice, potatoes.
We eat a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so was that the principles that you just built the company around?
Yeah. So honestly, when I started cooking, I wanted people to eat whole food,
Yeah.
and I wanted them to eat balanced. So originally, when I started Fit Flavors, I didn't have all the macros and all the calories as a part of the plan because I just didn't have the manpower or the time to break down every recipe for every dish every single week because I changed the menu every single week. It was 12 new items.
Oh, wow.
So I wrote an entire new menu every week. It could have any cuisine, any different cooking technique. So 10 sauces and all sides and all that stuff. So I based everything off portions and quality ingredients. And that's kind of like that's still like our values and pillars today, except now we have the resources. We have all the stuff now.
Yeah, you have a huge menu.
Thanks. I mean, like, we have all the resources to create all the macros and provide everything for any dietary need. Like, I have a whole person that just helps manage all of that now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where do you like to go to, like, get your ingredients?
So, we go a bunch of different places, but I mean, for the most part, Cisco is like an amazing purveyor. They have awesome partnerships and relationships with local farms and stuff like that.
Wow.
So what they can do is they can actually like bring stuff from this farm and this farm to fill an order.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like their meats and stuff, like they've bent over backwards for Fit Flavors. Let me just tell you that. Like they really get us what we need and what we want. They've got in a lot of cool stuff for us.
Yeah.
And we do still work with a local farmer here, actually two, that provide us some of our produce and all of our pasture-raised eggs.
Okay.
That's one thing I was really big on was like getting the pasture-raised eggs.
Yeah, that's big.
That are fed good diets versus just like a cage-free egg, because a lot of people don't realize like the difference between pasture-raised and cage-free. Cage-free just means like you could be out of a cage for a couple hours a day, but then back in.
Yeah.
Pasture-raised means like the chickens spend majority of the day out on the pasture feeding on grass and bugs.
Right.
So the diets are different.
Because they're omnivores. I mean, chickens are little savages.
Oh man, that's scary.
They are. They were. I think maybe I was watching Rogan. I don't know if he like played a clip or something, but it was a chicken eating
another chicken.
I've seen that, but it was a mouse this time.
So I've always wanted to kill a chicken.
Oh, really?
Like take the head and snap it. I've never done that, but like I just think that would be so cool. I don't know if I could do it. Today I walked in my cooler and there was 3 fucking lobsters doing this at me.
They're moving?
Yes.
Oh,
and
shit.
I was like, what are there lobsters for in our cooler? I asked my chef to make me lobster bisque for a friend, and I'm like, he's probably testing the recipe today because I don't need it till this weekend. But I did not. I mean, they literally looking at me and the tentacles were moving. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Lobsters are interesting, right? They're kind of like the bugs of the sea.
Oh, man.
I like them. I mean, I eat them.
I'm not big on shellfish. I mean, crustaceans, I call them.
Those aren't your jam?
I like mussels and oysters, so I can't say shellfish. I meant crustaceans, like shrimp and lobster and crab. I'm like, I could go either way. I'll eat them, but
I'll eat them.
I don't love them. I'd rather have fish.
Yeah, I like fish. Salmon's good. Do you eat tilapia?
I don't eat a lot of tilapia.
Okay. I'm always just, so many people feel like it's a healthy fish, but like most of it's farmed. It's not really a healthy fish.
Yeah, and that's why I don't eat it.
Yeah, me either. Like there's just so many like common conceptions about food. Like to your point, like the difference between pasture raised and cage free eggs. Like the semantics start getting tricky, and businesses know that. Does that make your job difficult? Like whenever you're sourcing and different things?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm passionate about certain things, and we have certain standards here that we try to meet as a company.
Yeah.
And our promise to our consumer, but also there's a gap between us, the business, and the consumer on like education.
Right.
So like we're trying to position ourselves to help educate and tell them what the difference is and about these products and stuff. Because I think nowadays there's just so much misconception with food because we don't know. And a lot of the big companies, they say things and print things on their labels and you don't know. You just believe them and you think it's good. And
yeah. You don't know who to believe. I mean,
so you have to educate yourself. You really do.
Yeah.
So it just takes time. And it's just one more thing for someone to do is like, I don't want to read about food. I just want to eat healthy food. Just feed it to me.
Right.
And that's what we're here for. You know,
you
so
just make it easier for everybody.
Right.
Did you watch that new documentary, Game Changers?
It's
It's pretty new on Netflix. It's essentially like in a nutshell, it's just kind of driving people towards just more plant-based.
Okay.
My issue is when they start kind of going over like trying to get people more into like the vegan camp. I'm not against vegans. It's a very challenging kind of way to eat. So some people may not do well with that, but I just didn't know if maybe you had saw it. I would imagine when stuff like that comes out,
I think plant-based is great.
I think plant-based is the way to go. Are you vegan?
No.
Okay.
God, no.
Yeah, as I said, I thought I heard you eat meat. So
That would be hard.
it'd be super hard. I mean, because you have to supplement like B12, and I think eggs are just one of like it's.
I just
it's,
love food too
it's
much.
just nature's multivitamin.
I love food.
Yeah.
I'm a big component on everything in moderation.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thing. Even when we're talking about like tequila.
Try to keep it like 80-20.
Yeah, like you got to have some tequila, you got to have some cookies, you got to have healthy food, but like you got to be able to sustain for years on that diet. And plant-based meaning like the majority of the foods I eat, I try to eat fruits and vegetables. Like a lot of it.
That should be
but
the most.
I do eat a lot of whole grains. I know a lot of people won't touch grains. Like
Yeah.
I'll eat whole wheat pasta, I'll eat rice, I'll eat potatoes.
Yeah.
You know, and moderate servings of protein. I eat a lot of vegetarian, to be honest with you.
Oh,
I
me
do.
too. There's some days I won't go, like I won't even eat meat some days.
Yeah.
It's totally doable, right? I didn't know if maybe that sometimes when things like that come out, I know a lot of trainers, they start getting all these different questions. So I didn't know if maybe like your staff maybe also saw that as well. Like you started
We
seeing
haven't
this
talked about that
influx.
one yet.
Yeah. Because education.
Oh, we have. I mean, in the stores, we definitely see an influx. Whatever's trending,
Right.
we will see an influx of that, like come through the stores with people asking questions. And
Yeah.
like we've tried to create, we call it our nutrition binder. We have this thing in the store where it basically supports any type of diet that you're on or restriction that you may have and helps you use our menu as like a resource to get what you need.
Right.
So, okay, if you're on Whole30, here's what you can have. If you're following Weight Watchers, here's all your points. If you're low sodium, here's the lowest to the highest for every meal.
Yeah.
Like we give everybody what they need and then they need to manage that on their own.
Right. Yeah, you've really incorporated just a huge educational piece to your company, right?
Yeah.
Don't you, I'm gonna fuck it up. Is it Fit You?
Okay, so Fit You was something we did a long time ago.
No longer doing that.
Well, we are just having talks about
Okay.
it. But Fit You is our educational piece to the community. Yeah, we closed down our actual curriculum classes that
Okay.
we were offering
Okay.
just because we've been trying to grow the
I
company.
mean, you can only do so much.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we're trying to find a way that we can offer it in other ways.
Yeah.
If you are interested in Fit Flavors, I mean, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter. It's not like a salesy like coupons and stuff like that. It is a blog written by myself or a registered dietitian or another girl we have on staff that is educating you on myths that are out there, just anything about food. I do a lot of blogs on actual cooking.
Yeah.
Because I could talk about that and like I love to talk about cooking. So they asked me to write those ones, which I love. And I think my next blog I'm going to talk about like our bulk section.
Okay.
And just like how I use the bulk proteins and starches at home with my family and how I use that as a tool for my meal prep.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just very digestible educational piece you get once a week and you can just, it's probably like a 3 to 4 or 5 minute read.
Yeah.
It's great for someone who's trying to learn but doesn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, well, just a little bit along the way goes, you know what I mean? Just a little bit all the time because there's just so much to go through and so much to sift through. So do you ever see yourself like doing like a cooking show?
I could do it. I probably have the personality to. I'm goofy.
You for sure. I mean,
I'm goofy enough. It'd probably be
tons of energy.
entertaining. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to if that ever happened.
yeah,
You know,
I think you'd be good at that.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you could even just that's the thing with like Instagram and YouTube. Like you have the power to essentially do whatever you want as far as like distribution is concerned. Like the channels are all there. I guess it's just all about bandwidth, right? You only have so much time.
Yeah. It's funny. I learned how to cook by watching Food Network.
Did you?
That's
I did a lot of that too.
That's originally how I learned how to cook. I started watching Food Network when I started getting into fitness because I realized, oh my God, if I want to be in shape and like lean out, like I got to eat better. And
Yeah.
I don't know how to cook. And then I was like, I need to know how to cook. So I started watching Rachel Ray, Giada De Laurentiis, Everyday Italian, the Barefoot Contessa, and like I would
Yep.
take what they were doing and then I'd say, okay, I got to make that healthy. I can't have that pasta. So then I would go home, try to recreate a dish, but make it healthy. And
Yeah.
that kind of started my love with food.
Just experimenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I feel like that's probably the only way to do it.
I was watching it when I'd walk on the treadmill.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice.
Literally.
nice.
I'd be doing cardio and
Yeah.
taking in cooking.
Yeah, whenever I used to cut weight for fighting, because I used to fight at 170 pounds, and I typically walked around like 190. So I had to cut like 20 pounds of weight for a
Jeez,
fight.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Were you like wearing a trash bag and spitting into a bottle? Was that you?
Yeah, I was. It was not fun. It's not smart either. But I would get so obsessed with Food Network during that time. Like
Because you were hungry.
Yep, I couldn't eat, but I'm watching it like it's porn. Like I'm just, oh yeah, I like that.
That's like torture.
It is. It's weird. And I go through like Pinterest or something. I'd be like pinning all these
Oh my
recipes. of food.
God, you're
I'm like,
torturing yourself.
Yeah, like I'm gonna eat this cake and this and that, and then like I'd weigh in and I'd have water and I'd hydrate. And I'm like, I don't want any of this food anymore. But
Yep.
I would just watch it and watch it and watch it. You learn so much just by watching.
Yep.
You also went to culinary school, though.
I did.
Do you feel like you got a lot out of culinary school as far as, I mean, you probably get some techniques and different things, but I mean, were you already kind of set with what you taught yourself? Did you get a whole lot of extra out of it?
So I did get some good stuff. I kind of went to a condensed
Okay.
course. It was about a year. It was at Le Cordon Bleu.
Okay.
And I wanted the credential behind my name just because
Right.
I was like, I'm just some trainer girl cooking out of her house. Like, what do I have to stand on? So I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to be, I've never worked in the industry, so I can't say I've worked at this country club or worked at this fancy restaurant. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm ever going to market myself, I need to have something. At least I can say I'm a trained chef.
Right.
So I did go to school, and it was great for the things it taught me, like basic knife skills,
Right.
kitchen etiquette, the mother sauces. I went to a French culinary school, so like I learned the basic sauces and how. From
Yeah.
there, you can do a lot. I did learn culture across cuisines was the coolest class because we did Thai food, Indian food, Italian food, and you just got to learn about the culture and what was indigenous to the area and how the
Oh, yeah,
foods.
like the flavors and
I
spices that they
loved
use.
learning about when back in the day when people would travel by boat and they would take spices and foods
Oh,
to other
yeah.
countries, and then they would fusion the foods.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of like how a lot of those dishes and stuff came about.
Yeah.
Was brought over on boats from country to country,
Right.
and just
Yeah.
it was very, very cool.
A lot of culture gets transported through food
Mm-hmm.
across like boundaries and lines and different things. It is so cool. Do you have like a type of food? I know you're Italian, right?
Mhm.
Is that your favorite type of food, or do you
Actually, no, I lean more towards like the Asian and Thai.
Do you?
I love that kind of stuff.
Okay. Recently I've been really digging like Middle Eastern cuisine. For some reason, just the curry. I don't know. I just love
Really?
that flavor. Yeah, curry and cumin. Not cumin. I'm tripping.
Coriander,
No.
turmeric.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, curcumin would be the
Do you
other
do coconut rice?
No.
Just put coconut milk on some white basmati rice. Oh, that's so good.
Oh, that's a good move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and pair that with like a red curry veggie and chicken thing. Oh, bam.
Yeah, I gotta get into like actually making the curries. I'm still just like ordering from like Thai places.
That's
or
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, but I like to cook all the
Get
time.
like your
I cook
whole
every day.
spices, toast your spices, smash them out.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of steps to it.
For cooking, yeah.
For cooking, which I guess that probably is why so many people don't want to do it. But I always have I'm always like, it doesn't take that much time to create like a healthy meal. But I guess that's where you guys come in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I think too, like if I think back to when I didn't know how to cook, like
Yeah.
I remember looking at recipes and going, oh, there's too many ingredients. I'm not making that. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's just maybe like 5 different spices, but the amount would just be overwhelming sometimes if you didn't know how to cook, or you'd see so many directions means more steps. And
Yeah.
I've always learned like you need to read the recipe from start to finish once just to see it. Because
Yeah.
once you read it, you're like, oh, I get that. And then go back and read it again and get ready.
Yeah.
One of the best things I learned in culinary school, and I still do to this day, and I highly recommend, and I'd say most of our chefs do this in the kitchen, is mise en place, which is all your stuff in place before you cook. So, like, I tested 2 new recipes for our spring menu today, and before I started cooking, I weighed everything out, got everything like organized, like get ready for the flat top because I was going to saute, and everything's portioned, ready, already diced, already sliced, and then you throwing it together, it's boom, 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 done.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're not like, oh shoot, where's the garlic? Oh, I need this spice, and then you're running around looking for something.
Right, something's burning while you're like chopping something.
Oh, that's the worst. You know,
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Try that. Try getting all your stuff in one place right by your cooking area and just having it there.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go for anything.
That's what I've noticed just watching like Food Network. Everything's always like in these nice little organized little bowls. Like, we're just going to put this on here, put this on there. Yeah, I'm like, I probably won't do it to that extreme, but
no,
it
if
does
you just
help
have
just
them,
to be prepared.
Just having them come out. Yep.
Yeah. Now you've expanded the business and you're doing shipping to 7 states. We talked about that a little bit. How's that been going? That transition.
We just launched that a little bit ago, so it's
that's
new
the
right
most
now.
recent thing, right?
Yeah. So just a lot of stuff internally that we're working through, and just like I said, trying to learn how to talk to different markets when you don't have a brand presence there.
Yeah.
You know, like in St. Louis, I think we're pretty rooted. We've been here for 6 years.
For sure.
We have 3 stores, and, you know, we've been making deliveries here for 2 years. So, and we've been to so many events, like myself and the people on the team. So we know people in the community and other businesses. So it just helps network and get the word out.
Yeah.
And now we're just like, hey, we're available in another city. It doesn't mean just business flocks in. Like, you got to find a way to connect.
How to get to them. Yeah. I don't know if is it influencer marketing?
It's all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's everything.
Man. Yeah. It's just the evolving puzzle of business, right?
Yep.
Now, how do you? Because you seem to like teach yourself often, right? Like,
very resourceful.
Yeah, like you're self-taught in quite a few things. Like, what's your process for learning, or how do you like to learn? Do you is it always by doing? Do you sometimes
me
read?
personally?
Is it podcasting?
Not everybody on my team, which we wouldn't be where we are with a lot of the people on the team. Like, I cannot take all the credit for all of this, but for me personally, yes, I'm just like, get in there, mess it up, and like make it better as you go.
Okay.
Because I like to just start doing it. Just go.
Okay.
And start, because if not, it's like I always say, it's what is it, analysis of paralysis? Overthinking it.
Absolutely.
And like, I've drove myself crazy for the past year and a half trying to find the right container for something we're changing to, and it's like, then I got to get the logo to look right on the container, and then it's got to fit in the box with the right insulation, and then the right ice, and then it's got to ship. And it's like, you could just go in circles, and you don't have the answer until you stuff a couple boxes and you try it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, you got to start doing it. And there is some cost to research and development that you just concur. Like, it just is what it is. And you got to be willing to shell out some money to try new things and fail and get feedback. I remember when we first launched the home deliveries in St. Louis, we just celebrated like 2 years a couple months ago. You know, that's what I started the business on. But when I opened the brick and mortars, like, we just did stores for 3.5 years.
So you went away so you started delivery, went away from it for the brick and mortar, and then added it back in.
And then we just added it back in. And when we launched that, I'm going to call 20 of our best customers that are OGs, OGs. And I'm just going to say, hey, I need you to do this process. I need you to order, and I need you to do it this way. And then let me deliver it to your house, and then give me feedback. And that's literally how it started. And then I asked them to do it again. And then it just started from there. And that's kind of how we got it rolling.
Oh, right on. Have you had any like business mentors along the way, or just mentors in general along the way?
Yeah. I've had some that I,
some not so much.
Not ones that I connected with. And then I'll be honest, like, my husband's been amazing.
Yeah.
He's a lot older than me, not that much older, but he's 8 years older than me. I feel like enough years ahead to where he's been in business and just around corporate and just traveled and been in sales. So he's a finance person, so like, he understands that, and he's been amazing with helping me.
Yeah, it's like the best business partner right there.
Yeah, walk through a lot of this stuff and help me. You know, he made a joke the other day, like for him, like the stress level he has, he's like, yeah, I deal with my kids and that's 750 questions my wife asks me a day. And I'm like, oh my God, is it that bad? I'm like, wow, okay, I can't make a decision without you.
If you don't ask, you don't know.
So, you know, I would say him, and then I'll be honest, like just following First Form. I listened to a lot of Andy's podcasts. I can connect with his message really, really well. I would say he's been a mentor for me for sure.
Yeah.
And just more so anything like telling me what to do, but more so I connected with, okay, everything I'm doing is right because that's what he did too, and I just need to keep doing it. So it's a lot of the same similarities that made me feel good with what I was doing and to keep going.
Yeah, like kind of getting that confirmation. It's like, all right, yeah, I am on the right path.
Yeah, he said something to me. He said something the other day that really made sense to me. He goes, you know when you're doing something right is when you're alone in the process and nobody else wants to do it and you're doing it and you feel like, all right.
That's such a good feeling.
I'm willing to do this shit because nobody else is.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like sometimes like people think, well, you're 10 years into your business. Oh, it's so big. But deep down, I see everything on the inside. And I don't feel like that all the time. But like, I'll still do things for the company where people will be like, you still do that? And I'm like, yeah, I still do that.
Right.
Like, when am I too good to do those things?
Right.
And like, when I hear that, it's like, you don't get it.
Right.
Like you must not get it if you think that I shouldn't have to do those things.
It's interesting talking to people who don't really like understand like what all goes into building anything. Have you ever get told like you're so lucky, Jillian? You ever get told that? I got told that the other day because someone was like, man, what do you do most of the time? I'm like, man, I'm just really focused on building this. You're like, oh man, lucky you get to do that. I'm like, bro, like
I don't know.
Like I'm working my ass off. Like there's no luck here like going on.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I can recall that specific thing.
Okay. Yeah, well, I just know that it takes work to build anything, so I just didn't know if that was something that maybe you've ever encountered where people like because they don't see 90% of what happens. You know what I mean? And kind of to your point, they feel like you've grown the business to a certain point, so now you must just kind of be just chilling and just living the high life or whatever. I don't know what they think. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they don't feel like you're still doing some of the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, it definitely owning a business like with this size, like it changes you because you're always on. You have to always be on regardless of where you're at, and you want to be on. Like even when I'm on my me time, like when I'm shopping at the mall after I've blow dried my hair, like I'm on. I'm ready to pitch anybody I see or meet. Yeah. Any chance I get, it is a perspective or it's a potential customer. Yeah. Like, and that's the way I view every conversation I ever have outside of work. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Grant Cardone made a really good point that stuck with me. I don't know. He has a book called Sell or Be Sold. He has a lot of them, but I listened to the audio version because there's like a ton of like extra content in there. But one of the points that stuck with me was like you should always be selling, especially if you really do have the best service or product. You're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're also doing them a disservice if you're not really telling them about what you could do for them. So like ever since I heard that, I'm like, yeah, you should always be trying to sell.
I feel like we too, we're also selling something that helps people's lives in so many ways. Yeah. Not just with like convenience, but their health. It's not like I'm selling, like a materialistic thing,
Right. Yeah. And then you can help families along the way, right? Because it starts top down with kids, right? Is that a big motivator for you since obviously family seems to be like a core nucleus for you. Like the fact that you are helping so many families. You ever think about that? Like maybe a better way to say it is, do you ever think about like the legacy that you're building?
I don't know. I guess I don't. Maybe, I don't know. That's cool. That's great. Thank you. But no, I don't know. I mean, I definitely know. Like sometimes I'll get a compliment from someone. Like it's awesome when they're like, "Wow, like thank you so much. You've really helped my life." Like you get those kind of things, and you don't hear that, but when you do, you don't hear that much. But when you do, you're like, wow, like they're serious. Like, yeah, where would I be without you guys? And it's like, wow, that's awesome.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you've definitely you're a pillar of the St. Louis community, right? And then now you're expanding. So I'm
probably like one of the most appreciative and useful customers of our product. Like I don't know where I would be without the product. Like there's always fit flavors in our cooler. My husband eats so much of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sure your kids don't know anything different than like eating healthy.
So it's funny what we do at home is I call it the hodgepodge. Like I'll take out a couple meals and I'll open them up, and one might be salmon and rice, and then there might be like a burger and a mashed potato, and then like they get to
Just
pick
kind of
from
pick
the
and
meals.
choose.
Yeah, and
Oh, that's cool.
they hodgepodge it out.
Yeah, I mean, now there's ownership. They just made their own meal
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's super cool. So I want to touch on real quick the smoothie bar.
Okay.
Because I don't that's not like I guess the primary start like piece of your business, right? But you did add in the smoothie bar. I think so many people do smoothies wrong. It's easy to go wrong with smoothies, right? So can
Mhm.
you kind of like talk about the smoothie bar and like maybe how people do mess up doing smoothies?
I just wanted to add one more thing on my plate. I
You're just
literally
like, enough
when
isn't enough.
I had a mental breakdown in 2016 right after that store opened.
Oh, okay.
I had just had my second kid.
That was the third location, right?
Third location, thought I'd launch a smoothie bar, just had a second kid. One was on my boob, the other one was sleeping in my bed every night. Like I wasn't sleeping, I was a hot mess.
Yeah.
I like seeked professional help from so many different things. Yeah, then I got that sleep therapist. I joined an entrepreneur organization, and I did one more thing. Oh, I got a personal assistant, which I no longer have. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, I was in a.
You're just piling it all
Oh
on,
man,
huh?
it was a crazy time. But I was just from working at the gyms earlier. We had a smoothie bar that it always had. I'm not going to say the brand, but it was a pre-made drink mix. It was just sugar
Yeah, it's all sugar. They take out the fiber.
that you would pour in there. And then I worked at another gym that would make it with fresh fruit. And I was like, finally, they're doing it right. It's so simple. Like
Right.
why doesn't everybody do it like this?
Yeah.
And I always love smoothies, but I just don't drink a lot of them because they're full of sugar. And
Right.
we had the space at the location, and I thought, man, we should open a smoothie bar. That'd be awesome. We can make them like whole food meals, like our meals, except they'll be in smoothie form. And that was kind of when we started.
Do you ever see like pairing those with every location, or you're just gonna keep it at the one
Well, right now that would involve like tearing down locations
from a space perspective?
Yeah, and I don't know right now if that's what we're gonna do. It would be very disruptive to the current stores.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Well, I guess maybe I was thinking more so if you do add other locations,
If I had it,
or if
it would
things
definitely
as
be
things
something I
grow.
thought through because it would just be a small investment on the front end for like the equipment and stuff. But we have the process and
Yeah.
the proven product that is amazing. So
Yeah,
probably.
I just cringe at the amount of sugar that people drink, whether it's like in a smoothie or sometimes like those naked fruit juices or something. And I think people think they're doing something healthy, and they just don't really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. I mean, obviously, like everything that you're doing, as far as you're offering like the nutritional aspect, as far as like what's in all the meals. And you have food, but sometimes you don't want to eat something. You want to have like a smoothie, so you're kind of building onto that piece too. I thought.
Yeah, and that was kind of going back to your first question, like why did you create the smoothies this way? Like, I wanted it to be a whole food meal. So
Yeah.
even if there is sugar in it, like it's balanced with slow digesting carbohydrates, unsaturated fat, and protein,
Right.
and so there's a balance of those.
Right.
And it was, I will admit, I was in tears over that menu in my kitchen.
Oh, really?
And at home many times, just with trying to get them to come out the right consistency.
Yeah.
Because like when you take sugar and carbohydrates out of a smoothie, have you ever tried to blend up just 2 scoops of isolate or whey protein in a blender? What happens?
I've never done that. No.
Yeah, don't do it. It's horrible. Like it doesn't really blend unless there's a lot of fillers in the stuff to make it thick and creamy. But like
Okay.
it just gets stuck with the ice. Like it won't blend.
That makes sense.
You got to add milk and fruit and bananas and sugars. You got to add that stuff. So when we were
Yeah.
trying to create some low carb ones, I had to get super creative with how we would do this, and it was
Yeah.
finding the right proteins and stuff like that. But I remember one time I came home crying to Jason. I'm like, this is so hard. Like they're coming out too icy, and some of them are too big. And he's like, Jillian, you've built a business and have a menu that's way harder to do. Like this is a freaking smoothie. He had no sympathy for me. He was like,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Get over it. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, but we figured it out. And,
Yeah.
because the blenders have different speeds. So like you're going to have any associate making these. So
That's true.
They got to be able to put 1, 2, 3 in a blender, hit start, and it be fine. So we just set blender settings. I was just like, oh my God, all the stars have to align for this smoothie to be, and it has to be nutritionally sound. So we'd render the recipe, and then we would look at the macros, and I'd say it's too much sugar, so we had to go back to the drawing board. We'd take stuff out, have to find a way to make it work again.
Yeah, and then to be able to do that consistently. Every time someone orders it.
And that honestly is what I do with the menu. It's a science project. Like today, I made the meal, make sure the flavor profile's right. Did I execute the cooking techniques? Can I scale this to 100 when we're cooking it every day?
Yeah.
How well can my chef do these 4 things in mass production? Will it compromise the flavor or the texture of the food? And then after it sits in my cooler for 5 days, how does this taste on day 5?
Oh, yeah.
All those things we consider.
Man, that's a lot of shit to think through, man.
Yeah, it is. And now it's easy because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But so I create my recipe, and then I give it to my nutrition analyst. She works on the numbers. She comes back. She says, here's what you got.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I go, okay, I'm going to try this again, and I'm going to try this technique a little different. We make it again, then we scale it, and then we put it on the menu. So
yeah. And that's the secret to success,
yeah.
right?
Right, that's it. Just go do it. Yep.
Just go do it. Man, it's so cool. So what's in the pipeline as far as where do you see everything going moving forward for you right now?
So really just getting saturated in these new cities is going to be a big goal for us, and focusing on learning how to communicate with these markets so we can replicate that and more.
Yeah.
And then obviously still providing the most amazing service and product here in St. Louis for all of our customer base is so important. And we want to really continue to educate people. And that's kind of a way we've really we've focused a lot of our marketing, and where we're taking our company is with our education and support with what we're offering customers. Because right now, this is definitely a market where there's more competition and people coming into this space.
You're seeing more and more services.
Yeah, so how can we differentiate ourselves and people know, what can people know us for? So we want to be consistent, and we want to be providing education and definitely support through the buying process and the journey. Whether, I just met you and, you might have X, Y, and Z with your eating or your nutrition. Well, okay, I'll meet you here. Here's what I can help you with. But also let's get you here. Yeah. So it's learning where our consumers are and helping them get to a better spot with food, so it can become more of a lifestyle, right? Rather than, I'm going to sign up for this meal prep company. I hate that term, meal prep. Yeah. Meal. No, this is just food that people should be eating all the time. There's no I'm on prep, I'm off prep. I don't live that way. I don't want our company to come off that way. Right. It's
a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. You could go to the Bread Co. or you could go to Fit Flavors. You have a choice and a decision where you want to eat. You eat lunch every day. Yeah. I want people to just use this as a lunch spot. Right. And I think sometimes people think it has to be a meal prep. I have to buy all these meals. No, just come be a part of the lifestyle, making better choices of eating a healthy meal. Right. Get 1 or 2 or 3 for the week. If you want to buy 6 or 10 or 15, you
can do that.
You could totally do that. But I think a lot of people associate meal prep and meal companies with that whole sign up this subscription. You have to get this many. Right. And that doesn't work consistently forever for everyone, but eating healthy does.
Right, yeah. And then I guess some people might feel pressure, I can't go in there because I got to buy all of this. It's coming.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've been at the cooler with people on their first time, and I'm actually telling them not to buy as much stuff. I'm begging them not to buy more than 5. I'm trust me, let's do this. Let's get you started with 5. You've never eaten pre-made food. If you can get through these, come back in 5 days and buy more. But I don't want you to waste the product, So I think sometimes people think it's all or nothing, and it's on or off. Or we kind of have this joke. We hear people say, "I'm gonna do it." We're you mean eat? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start. You're gonna start what? Eating healthy. Just eat healthy. Yeah. More frequently.
It's just one more choice.
Yeah, it's that on and off thing that I just want people to just realize it's always there, and it's always something they can walk into, and they're never falling off. They're just managing that 80-20. Right. Yeah, and that is part of our philosophy, is the 80-20.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely the best way to look at it. So many people, they'll say, like, I'm going on a diet.
Uh-huh.
It's like, no, like, a diet is just the way you're eating. Like, you don't really, like, go on this thing. You just want to make eating healthy this, maybe, like, the way you eat, we call it a diet, but I feel like that word we kind of ruined that word a little bit.
Yeah, and there are diets that people follow where they're eliminating something.
Yeah.
And that's where it does get hard to be sustainable because
Right.
and some people do it for health reasons, and I get that, but you still have to sustain it.
Right.
So we can meet that person where they are, and we have products that will meet every person's, allergy or dietary need.
Right.
We just want to be the resource for you,
Yeah.
whether it's through education or through our food. Like, we are
Right.
here to help you wherever you are at on that journey. We're just making your life easier. That's what we want to do for you.
Oh, perfect. Well, we'll end there, Julian. Jillian, sorry.
You did it! You called me Julian. Everybody
I
does.
fucked it. Rick, we got to start all over. Yeah, that's a perfect note to end on, though, for real. How can the folks check you out? Is there anywhere you want to direct them to? Time is yours.
Yeah, we're on Instagram and Facebook, Fit Flavors.
Yep.
And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, just Jillian Tedesco. Our website's probably going to be one of the best places you can go. People like pictures. We got every picture of every meal on our website. All of our blogs are on our website. So if you're wanting to sign up for that or look for any information, and then if you have any dietary need or any, you're on any, how do I say, like, you have a restriction or you're on a diet, either or, we have like all the lists of stuff on there, and you can click on which one speaks to you, and it'll show all the meals that fit your diet.
And that's fit-flavors, right?
Yeah.
.com.
So yep. It's the hyphen.
Yep, and I'll put all this in the show notes so people can easily find it. And definitely, guys, check it out. It's very easy to navigate.
Yeah,
tons of
and
different foods on there.
with our delivery, right now we're only shipping out of state 1 day a week.
Okay.
So you receive your food on Wednesday, and it's good through the following Wednesday.
Okay. So it's good for 1 week.
Yes, it's good for 1 week. And if you're local here in St. Louis, we deliver 4 days a week: Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's no reason to not try it.
So I always said, like, you can either walk into a store, buy a meal, you can order ahead and have them delivered, or if you're totally need to, you can call Uber. And we're on Uber Eats.
You guys are on Uber Eats?
We're on Uber Eats in the city, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's a good move.
Yeah.
And if you are,
I've ordered Uber Eats before. I've actually gone onto Uber and ordered Fit Flavored and had it delivered to my house.
it was a good experience.
It was, and I actually did it last weekend. I got my hair done, and I was sitting, and I was like, I'm gonna order Uber, and I ordered us Fit Flavored.
It's positive all the way around.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, Jillian, thank you so much for doing this.
This is fun. Thank you.
Everybody, until next time.